Let's go. YouTube, what is up? We are back with another day. We got cleans. I think we got some bazooka cleans because that is what Will Rattel told me to do today. I asked the group chat what clean variation should I do, and he picked what looks like the most devilish variation I could imagine. So we're going to try and figure that one out and rip that today. We got some jumps. We're going to do some pogos. I'm going to show the pogos that Angus was doing that I did on either way. I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday. The crescendo hops, really like those. Lateral hops, and then we're going to hit some sniper jumps, kind of talk about those and what we're doing there. I kind of want to just get after the lift today and just talk about what I'm thinking about during the lift, but I really wanted to cover trap bar deadlifts versus regular deadlifts. And there's been kind of this debate going on Twitter right now that people are going back and forth on, and it's been going on for a while. And I think the big narrative that is pushed in S&C is that Hexbar deadlifts are going to save your back and that barbell deadlifts are a bad lift. It's a narrative I fell for the longest time. For some reason, I was just told Hexbar deadlifts were better for your back. I just always did them and stopped programming straight bar deadlifts, just continually programmed Hexbar deadlifts. And it's for sure one of the biggest things I've changed my mind on. And the reason I changed my mind on it was so many athletes, when we Hexbar deadlift, myself included, would do Hexbar deadlifts and kind of feel like crap. They would always complain about their lower back. They were able to load up a ridiculous amount of weight that they wouldn't be able to do on a regular deadlift. And if they fall out, squatty athletes specifically is where we really had this issue, where they're very compressed, almost like rounded over the bar. And I don't even think it's a technique issue. I think it's like literally the only way a squatty athlete gets a hex bar up with a lot of weight. And a lot of these athletes were telling me, dude, my lower back feels like shit. And we'd bell squat. We'd find variations in a moment, but I never looked at the hex bar deadlift as the issue. I literally just like, that's that athlete's issue. We need to find a different variation, which it could just be that athlete's issue. But time over time, I was having issues with Hexbar deadlift and would continually program Hexbar deadlifts with the thought process of the reason I'm programming them is that they're good for your lower back, only because I've been told they're good for their lower back. The Boylism, everything's been kind of pushed in the S&C world that the Hexbar deadlifts are the way. They're better for your back, the way to load up the pulling variation without hurting yourself. And I just listened and I followed. And the really, really hard part about it, looking back on it, is I ignored reality in front of me. I listened to the Boylism, I listened to the knowledge, I listened to the science in quotations, and I ignored the real life interactions I was having right in front of me with my athletes who were telling me Hexbar deadlifts give them low back pain. And I think that's the issue with the Hexbar deadlift versus the back squats versus the regular straight bar deadlift argument is it's not that one is worse. It's not that one is better. It's not that there is a magic exercise. It's just that. It's that there is no magic exercise. There is no magic exercise that is better for your back, that will save you, that will be your answer. And I think a lot of times when we were told these things over and over again, these certain exercises are what you need to do, these certain exercises are what you need to avoid, we totally just get lost in the science. We get lost in what we've been told, and we don't just look at the athlete that's right in front of us. Does that athlete have pain with Hexbar deadlifts or not? Does that athlete have pain with straight bar deadlifts or not? I took straight bar deadlifts out of my program because I have low back pain when I straight bar deadlift, and I just assumed everybody else did, and I figured Hexbar deadlifts were a better answer, and it was confirming all of my biases of I get back pain when I deadlift, and I'm told straight bar deadlifts are bad. Confirm that it's not my training program that's wrong. It's nothing wrong with me. It's nothing wrong with my technique. It's the deadlift. It's the exercise that is bad, and we demonize it. And I confirmed all of my biases there. When the reality is, I was just straight bar deadlifting too much for what my body was able to handle with the form, with very little experience straight bar deadlifting. Didn't do it ever in high school, barely did it ever in college. And the reason we didn't do it in high school or college is because we were sat in this demonizing deadlifts are a bad pattern, which is hilarious because we were cleaning and we were picking heavy things up off the ground all the time. And then in our sport, we were doing very similar type movements as well. But again, we're ignoring reality for the science, for the experts. And I think it's a very dangerous game to play. If Hexbar deadlifts give you pain, it's probably not a great exercise for you or your athletes, regardless of the experts or the science that tells you so. And that's okay. And you can look at that and either change the variation or prepare your athletes better for the Hexbar deadlift, right? And I think that's probably the big thing. I don't want to demonize Hexbar deadlifts as the worst thing. We get a lot of pain with Hexbar deadlifts because they are pushed heavily in the S&C world, so we do them a lot. So now the pain that we would have got done with an athlete that was unprepared for a straight bar deadlift, we're just throwing that into the Hexbar deadlift because we just sub those two exercises. We have athletes that are unprepared for the movement, and a Hexbar deadlift is very easily loadable, and a lot of athletes are doing a lot of weight, right? Much easier to put a lot of weight on a Hexbar deadlift and either get it or not get it than to throw a lot of weight on the back squat. So you have athletes that are way overloaded for what their back and spine or core are able to handle, while we ignore that and continually program the things, continually progress those lifts. So instead of looking at it in a sense of, okay, my athlete has pain when they straight bar deadlift, or my athlete has pain when they hex bar deadlift, and swearing off the exercise, maybe it's a thing where we need to actually build up that athlete. Maybe it's a low back issue, maybe it's a core issue, maybe we need to get them side bending more, maybe we need to get that rib cage moving more, maybe we get them to understand how to flex and extend their spines and load those movements up and build a spine that is able to handle those movements, rather than demonizing or weaponizing certain exercises and saying one is better than the other. I think a lot of it comes down to what is the athlete's body able to handle, and if they're not able to handle that movement, how can we progress them to be able to handle that movement, rather than just saying back squats are bad, hex bar deadlifts are good, straight bar deadlifts are bad. Let's prepare them for those movements so they can do them. Let's load them appropriately. Again, all injuries come from too much, too soon, too often, and are a load management issue. And I think all of that gets thrown out the window when you create the magic exercise of the hex bar deadlift. I've seen so many coaches very early on in camp just give an athlete a hex bar deadlift, and a lot of athletes are able to pull 405 on a hex bar deadlift very quickly. When a straight bar deadlift, it takes a while to build up to a 405 deadlift, but a hex bar deadlift is a little bit more of an advantageous position to start in for strength, for to be able to pull more weight so they can load up 405 when they're definitely not ready for 405. And that would almost be the benefit for a straight bar deadlift or a back squat, is you actually have to build up better. You have to level up that athlete a little bit more to be able to do that exercise, whereas the hex bar deadlift is kind of just a cheat code to be able to pull more weight. And again, pulling more weight is not a bad thing. That is a benefit of that exercise. You can get a ton of force production done in the hex bar deadlifts, but to say they are there to help low back pain instead of saying they are there for force production, they are two very, very different arguments. And I think if we look at reality of we're loading up the hex bar too much, too soon, too often, that's why we're having lower back pain. We're loading up the deadlifts too much, too soon, too often, that's why we have that lower back pain, rather than demonizing the exercise in and of itself is where we need to look at it. If you want to use hex bar deadlifts and you feel good doing them, or you're just using them for the point of force production or moving more weight at a quicker pace, I know a lot of athletes, they're not with their trainers for a ton of time, so you want to NOS your athlete, you want to use the hex bar deadlift so they can pull more weight faster than teaching them all the things about a deadlift. That is great. You can do that. You can use that tool. But to use the tool in the sense of I'm using this because it is a magic lower back exercise is a very silly way to look at it. And it's something that I think has been, the biggest game of telephone the SNC world has ever played. One person parroted that hex bar deadlifts are better for your lower back, probably because they had one athlete that it felt better with, which is amazing again, but then we have parroted it over and over and over and over again to where so many strength coaches are just using the hex bar deadlift for the lower back without ever actually thinking about it and without actually looking at the athletes in front of you. The athlete is telling you they have lower back pain with that exercise. One, we should probably find a variation for them, and two, we should level them up to be able to handle that exercise rather than swearing off that athlete, swearing to the exercise. It's a silly way to look at it, and I think it's something we do poorly in the strength conditioning field. All right, let's get the jumps, let's get the cleans, let's get after it, let's go. So we're gonna start today off with some crescendo hops. I did these on Tuesday as well. I think it was Tuesday, 2 days ago. Yeah, that sounds right. I really like them. I got these from Angus. These feel like a nice little rhythm builder, little hop. Warm up the ankles, get some plyometric action in every single day. The Achilles from the swing has been just brutal, man. I really think it's like my swing is pretty like, I try to like stay internally rotated here, and it's like that load into that push. And I don't think it's anything like crazy force-wise. I think it's just over and over and like thousands of reps. And I like jammed my ankle on a slide once, and then ever since then, it's really been kind of like soft and kind of bugging that. So gonna try and add in more plyometrics to make sure we're staying hoppy, and then isometrics take care of that Achilles. But let's rip it. Here we go. So 10 total hops, every single one. Goal is to get higher. Let's get it. Ooh, woo, let's go. So we had 3 sets of those crescendo hops, 3 sets of these lateral hops. Same thing that we did last week. We were hopping back and forth over the hurdle. Except this week we're gonna be holding a med ball, take the arms out of it, make it a little bit weighted. Actually pretty challenging here. The lateral hops is challenging, more challenging than the regular hop anyways, and you add a little weight, it gets pretty brutal. So we'll go hop, bounce, back over. So hop, hop, over, hop, hop, over, hop, hop, over. Try to stay rhythmic here, 4 each way. Let's get it. Boom, just like that. Then we'll get some high hurdle hops and cleans. Let's get it. Then we're gonna hit sniper hurdle hops here. So still in this thought process from Bobby Stroop, but kind of adjusting it to my own ideas here. Bobby Stroop does a lot of stuff where it's, you get one rep, one game, one rep, whether it's a med ball throw, an agility type game. He does a lot of one rep competitions with his athletes, and his whole thought process there is, can you turn it on and go when you need to go? You don't get a ton of build-up reps. Can you just call upon these things and actually trigger, like, it's time to go now, it's game time, let's trigger, let's go, let's PR, let's get it, rather than like a massive build-up into it. And I really like the psychological thought process there. So we're not gonna do one rep, we're gonna do 10 total reps on this hurdle. Misses count. Goal is just to get as high as possible within 10 reps, right? So you can kind of think of it like a powerlifting meet here. So even if you miss, like if I kick it off here and I miss it, I still probably want to raise it, right? If you miss your first lift, you still probably want to raise that lift for the next lift to be able to compete. This one is really nice when you have a bunch of athletes with you, a bunch of buddies that you're competing with, trying to beat, to where you know, okay, I missed it at this height, but to win, on my 9th jump, I missed it at this height, but to win, I'm gonna have to get it up here. So on my 10th, I'm really gonna have to PR, I'm really gonna have to trigger, I'm really gonna have to get it. So it doesn't leave a lot of room for error. Kind of like that thought process. So 10 total jumps here, let's get it. Ooh. I really like constraints like this too, because I think it takes into like psychological constraints rather than just physiological constraints. So we all know the physiological constraints and how to play around with them. I should say most coaches know the physiological constraints, how to play around with them. But I think a lot of times we miss out on the psychological constraints, and being able to talk about those with our athletes, and talking to the athletes that are able to turn it on within 1 rep. So we're talking about the athletes that it takes 40 reps to get, and what are the conversations you can have there with those athletes? Why does it take you 40 reps to get it? Are you not focused? Does that non-focus in this drill apply to the field or not? And how can we work on some of these things? And I think a lot of times putting that psychological pressure on, putting some of that social pressure on where all your buddies are hitting it and you got 1 jump left to go get it. Can you do that? Can you turn it on? I think is a very powerful stimulus that not a lot of coaches play around with. Ooh. Oh, shit. Ooh, let's go. I think we're halfway. I really should have made chalk marks because I can't remember if that was 4 or 5, but I'm gonna count that as 5 just to make sure I'm not giving myself an extra jump. I think I gave myself too many jumps when I said 10. Probably should have did a couple warm-up jumps, parkour style, just to get going. And then, and for the stimulus, I picked 10 because I wanted like 10 high-intent jumps for the physiological benefit, but I think 10 is too much for the psychological component. I feel like I have so many attempts to already go get this. So with the athletes, I think next week when we program this, I'm gonna go 2 sets, parkour base, warm them up, and then throw that on them for the 3rd set of a out of nowhere. You got 4 or 5 jumps this set to go as high as possible and peak. 10's too many. Oh, we got that. Oh, damn it. 2 more jumps, come on, no. I got 8, 9, 10. I got 3 more jumps. This would be a sweet little P here. Oh, let's go. 2 more jumps. That was a big PR. Oh, we got that, come on. Last jump, here we go for all the marbles. Oh, damn it. All right, that was a pretty good jump day. The jump mat has been feeling like ass. I just have had no interest in it. And just the standing, like jumping and landing on that ankle hasn't been feeling good. So I've been kind of bailing on it. And the numbers, I mean, they're decent right now, but they're not PRing. Like, I mean, that hurdle, I'm pretty sure that's a hurdle jump PR. Hurdle's been feeling amazing. So got to kind of tie that in. But if you're looking at your metrics, I think it pays to pay attention to what those metrics are actually telling you. Right now, I just know there's no interest in the jump mat. Doesn't mean that vertical is actually down. It's just I have no interest in landing the way that I was landing before, and really even taking off on the jump mat. And the dunks and the hurdles I have a lot of high interest in right now, and it's feel amazing. And there's times where I have a lot of interest in the jump mat for some reason, and no interest in the hurdle. So I think where your interest lies tells you a lot about your metrics, and if the metrics actually mean something in that moment, if that makes sense, because those felt really good. But missed that last one, should have got it. Let's go clean, let's get it. So we got cleans today. Warm up is gonna be the K-dot, just jumps, trying to keep the arms as low as possible, get some weighted jumps in, train that first pull, get that nice. Then Will told me to do bazooka cleans as my other one, which is like you throw it up and you catch it like a bazooka. Fucking hurts. I did it with just the bar and it hurts. So this is gonna suck. We're gonna hit 3 to 4 sets of this, then get the regular cleans, get after it. Let's go. That was a little bit more controlled. We're probably gonna go heavier there. Let's go. All right, second set of these, added some weight. Felt nice the first time. This is probably gonna feel like shit. Let's get after it. Maybe I'm an athlete today. Let's go. All right, so this will be our last set of the warm-ups. 3 of the jumps, 3 of the bazookas, and then in typical JSD fashion, if this bazooka is too clean, we'll hit singles until we can hit single bazookas. I don't know how heavy that's gonna go. Probably not much heavier than this, but maybe we PR and hit something cool. We'll hit that and then go to regular cleans, go from there. Let's get it. Catching that a little bit on underneath the hand, a little bit too much. Probably gonna fuck up my wrist. Will was saying I need a collarbone /trap. It's probably gonna be a little bit too bruised. I think I'm being a pussy and not letting it land there. Trying to catch it with there first, but feels nice. Add a little weight till we drop. Let's go. All right, time for some singies. Let's get it. All right, that last set was too clean and too good for my ego, so I added way too much weight. We got 225 on the bar. If we get this, I'm gonna be a very happy man. Let's go. Oh, got that. Ah, fuck. All right, so those went better than I thought. Got absolutely bodied by 225. That was reasonable, probably an overshoot on my part. Those all fun, those felt good. Feel engaged, ready to go. Let's hit some cleans, get from there. Let's go. Those first sets of cleans after the bazookas felt absolutely disgusting. The bazooka felt easier than those cleans. I don't know what the fuck that was about. I don't know, my timing's off, or it's just like you engaged. It's like, oh, I had like an oh fuck moment with the bazooka where I like had to get that bar up, but I was gonna die. It nearly did. Whereas like the clean, I felt like it was gonna be too easy. So gotta lock back in. Let's get it. What the fuck? I feel and look like hot fucking garbage right now. I gotta lock in. What in the world? Jeez, dude, let's get it. All right, Kyle Rothbauer, our swing father, guy who has absolutely been my mentor in the softball world, just landed in Minnesota. They have C Nationals. I'm gonna go pick him up from the airport and hit with him today, make a little softball video on that. But he just landed, so I gotta lock the fuck in, hit some decent weight before we go. Otherwise, Kyle might never see me. 13th reason. Let's go. That was better. Tiny bit better. Sucked a little less. Let's go. All right, let's go. Be better than bar. Here we go. It's a grind, but it's better. I'm almost dying. Let's go. It's been one of those weeks where the back has just felt very inhibited, very weak, very soft. I think it really had to do with a long car ride with a lot of softball this past weekend. But it's like, the weight doesn't feel that heavy. It's just like I'm way in my head of like, I need it to be perfect, otherwise it's gonna hurt. And then I'm like inhibiting off of that. Need to get the fuck out of my head and save this clean session one single at a time. Let's go. All right, so just finished up cleaning. Gonna go pick up swing father Kyle from the airport here. Decent day. Back's been feeling just a little goofy, like I mentioned, towards the ends of the cleans. Little inhibition, but saved. The clean saved in quotations. It wasn't the worst clean day ever. But hopefully next week we're back. We got the week off from softball. Our unlimited ARC softball tournament got canceled. So I'm gonna go hang out with Kyle and those guys this weekend, help them out at Nationals. Just help them out by supporting them and not playing with them. But gonna go BP with Kyle right now, make a video on that, then go watch them tomorrow, hopefully win watch them win a championship. I got to win something by just being a part of it. Like I know Kyle. So oh yeah, hell yeah, I won something because we were terrible at our nationals. So I'm gonna go make a swing video. Gonna go pick them up. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate the support. Let me know if you want me to cover anything else. Keep chopping wood.